Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and it looks like Americans panic search give car back as subprime auto loan delinquencies erupt. People trending on Google, I guess, give car back because the subprime auto loans are starting to collapse, folks. This and real estate is about to get ugly. And that can cause and will cause a mega cascading problem in this country and across the world. And I think they probably are. I think this is a part of the controlled demolition of this country, folks. It's the only thing that makes any sense. Listen to Stan Druckenmiller on CNBC telling the truth, while these CNBC hack narrative carriers they try to interrupt him to gray the area a little bit while he's telling the truth on this thing.
But is there any way around monetizing these debt levels? Is there any way inflation is not here to stay?
Yeah, we could have a
long term.
Look, I don't have to worry about the long term, my day job, but
Right.
but I will say this: we could have an event. I don't know whether. Hopefully, it's not a war of major powers that bring us together, and you get sacrificial behavior like we got after the Depression and World War II. We could have a financial crisis due to everything I've been talking about. And finally, my generation, I think Paul Jones made the point, we've given nothing. We've given nothing. And now we want to screw our grandchildren. Finally, we get the memo. So no, I'm not that pessimistic. And I'll say the other thing I'm optimistic about. Jerome Powell normalizing interest rates.
Yeah.
We now have a hurdle rate for investment in this country. So I think the allocation of capital, ironically, if we don't go to the zombie route, and if we don't continue the drunken stuff, ironically, I think it could be a force for good, because instead of funding a bunch of nonsense and bubble stuff, the capital gets more properly allocated. So, look, I'm open-minded to a really bad outcome, and I'm open-minded to a decent outcome.
But we need to need to cut entitlement.
I'm here today not to talk about Janet Yellen. I'm here today, guns and butter this morning. I could have written it. By the way, I didn't. We've got to stop, guys. We're drunk. We're digging this deep hole. What are we doing here?
So what's more important?
See, they get real uncomfortable when he starts saying we got to stop. That doesn't go in line with what their handlers are telling them to talk about. Crypto bull, the first major triangle on XRP chart, gave investors a 95,000% return. As the second big triangle comes to an end, I am fully invested in XRP. What is your price prediction? This guy says $514.70. But look at that beauty right there. I'll say it again, there's no digital asset on the planet that is more coiled to do its thing than XRP. I don't care what anybody says. We've been through too much. All of the things we've been through have been things stopping that coil from springing loose. It just feels like we're at a place. And Egreg Crypto says, Guide to Valhalla, XRP has triumphantly closed above the 20-month moving average. XRP's closure above $1 threshold, marking a comparison between bull market line and 2, bull market line -1. Remember, the $1 milestone isn't just a number. It signifies a crucial breaking point. Our target lies in the fib 0.702 as we aim for the stars. Now, I love his chart. Look at this chart right here, is just nasty looking. in a good way, because I guess we're right in here, but look at that trajectory. It's just dying. This thing is just dying to explode. Just is. Then Marcus Treacher, who we haven't heard from in a while, he's in this clip here. He says, I remain a big believer and fan of Team Ripple, leading RTGS global, because it's all part of the same future, a global internet of value.
Border payments market, we've seen a lot of improvements in domestic payments over the past 15, 20 years. Things have become very efficient there. It seems to me that there are more persistent problems with cross-border payments. Improvements seem to be slower there. Why is that, and why has no one fixed this yet?
The key problem is called liquidity. So when a bank or a payment company is carrying out a payment for you domestically, all the money required to move that value between you, the payer, and whoever you are paying is already in the banking system in the UK in the right place. And that means that banks can move that money immediately. That's why we have that experience domestically of clicking our app, the payment happening, or tapping our phone on a device and the door to the underground, in my case in London, opening and I go in. When you go and try that cross-border, you get the extra challenge of actually placing that money in the right account, in the right currency, in time for that payment to happen, for the payment to move from the person paying, let's say in the UK in pounds, to the person receiving, for example, in Brazilian reals. And that process is difficult. It takes time. It's expensive. It often goes wrong. And it ties up trillions of dollars of bank capital every day in accounts around the world, only placed in order to make payments happen. And that's the core reason why when you try and move from a domestic model that works quite quickly, is efficient, never goes wrong, to a cross-border model, you suddenly get all those problems. You get the where's my money questions, you get the overhead problem, you get the high charges, you get the delays, and it's all because of that cross-border movement of liquidity, which is a factor of moving between currencies and countries.
Smart man. I think he used to be at Swift. Here's another smart man. Crypto 1.0 won by establishment. Crypto is co-opted by the establishment. Bitcoin mining centralized. An ETF will centralize holdings. Ethereum centralized in both. FTX used to remove remaining efforts. What's left? Accept and build from scratch is the only hope. Now, I believe FTX was I've told you before, I think it's a government operation. This is how you know, because CNBC is trying to carry this narrative. And
meantime, we're going to turn our attention.
I'll tell you what I think after this.
Meantime, we're going to turn our attention to Sam Bankman-Fried, who pleaded not guilty to criminal fraud charges, facing potential life in prison if convicted. Closing arguments start today. And Kate Rooney, who's been at the...
While you watch this, I don't think it's an accident that they were putting Sam Bankman-Fried's face and his big afro and all that. It was on the FTX advertisements because I think that this was an operation where they wanted it to be focused on him, and they wanted it so that he could be the patsy when the time came. But I don't think it's him. I think it's somebody else.
House for so many of the days of this trial is at our table this morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Great to see you. So Sam Bankman-Fried's criminal trial is wrapping up almost exactly a year after the crypto company collapsed. The former CEO was the last witness to be called. Closing arguments kick off this morning, putting the case on track to go to a jury as soon as tomorrow. When Bankman-Fried was on the stand yesterday, we did hear a slightly less hostile tone than the previous day, at least. He said he learned about the $8 billion hole, his hedge fund, but it was borrowing from the crypto exchange last October, despite members of his C-suite testifying that it was much earlier. He said he deeply regretted not taking a closer look before that. Prosecutors questioned his, quote, cozy relationship with Bahamas prime minister and an offer to pay off $11 billion in Bahamas national debt, which he says he doesn't recall. His defense team tried to explain his fuzzy memory on the stand. For example, after he testified that he didn't remember certain media interviews, SBF, as he's also known, explained that he gave 50 interviews last year, and he says he just doesn't recall every one of those. They tried to explain $15 million spent on private jets, which, according to court documents, was at some points used to deliver Amazon packages. He says the jet was appropriate based on how much he was in Washington, D.C., and that about $65 billion of that line of credit, remember we talked about that yesterday, that was for its hedge fund. He says it was only a theoretical maximum. The fund drew on about $2 billion of that, guys.
So I was trying to explain to Becky and Joe earlier, having been down there now, but not being able to look into the eyes of the jury, but obviously being able to look into the eyes of lots of journalists who are professional skeptics as a profession. Do you have any sense that of what the mood is actually among the jurors?
So our sketch artist has actually been really helpful with this. She's sitting behind Sam Bankman-Fried. So again, they have been sort of studious. They've been taking notes. It's hard to get a sense. There was actually one juror apparently sleeping yesterday, closing his eyes. And so I think there's a sense that this has been going on for 5 weeks now. Right. Not getting a sense of how they'll weigh it, but you're right that the overflow rooms tend to be a little more rambunctious.
Now remember, folks, these people, I think their job, I think the media narrative that they've been handed is keep the focus on Sam Bankman-Fried. Keep the focus on Sam Bankman-Fried. But remember, his parents, these are tax attorneys. He didn't just show up in the Bahamas, okay? Remember this? That's his dad in the FTX headquarters, okay? And what was Joseph Bankman's alleged involvement in FTX? Remember, folks, Sam was at MIT where Gary was. His girlfriend's dad is Larry Ellison, who was Gary Gensler's boss. These people she is one of the main contributors to the Democrat Party. That's all we can say out here. We're going off into the group, and I'm going to prove to you, I don't think that this guy was the head honcho at all. I think somebody else was, and I think I can at least prove, and I'm going to, of the involvement of the people in this organizational chart FTX had. We're going off into the group, and trust you me, it's going to be interesting. DAIXRP.com. Join up, folks. We're also, by the way, in there. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I think I'm going to be able. Don't quote me. I think I'm going to be able to provide a discount for people that want to go to XRP Las Vegas in there. I've had early conversations, but I have to confirm that. So don't quote me yet, but I think that's what's coming. Also, we're going to be dropping a Zoom link in there. We're going to do it this week. It may be next week because I got some stuff going on, but it might be this week. And then also I'm trying to set my thing up so I can do live streams. I'm going to work on that some in the next week too. We'll see. Don't quote me on that either, but we're going off into the Zoom, okay? All right. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that in DAIXRP.com today, we talked about Alston Way, which just happens to be on the University of California, Berkeley campus. Now, what could this possibly have to do with, I don't know, FTX or Joe Bankman? Well, if you're in the group, you'll find out today. Thanks for listening.